All right, guys, last lesson on how to write a race response. This is lesson number 3, also called explaining evidence. It's the last sentence that you should be adding on to a race response. It is arguably the most important sentence since you're actually explaining how your evidence backs up your answer. Okay, so as we move in, so now that you have cited your evidence, you have to explain how that evidence proves your answer is correct. Now I have sentence starters for this, just like I do with the citing evidence. And the majority of them start with this. You do not have to start it in this way. I think it's just an easy way for students to kind of get a foot in, to kind of get a good feel for how to do this kind of a sentence. And then we'll get a little bit more complicated with it later on. Okay, so our sentences, our example sentence starters that I have here are, this means, this proves, this evidence shows, this is important because, or this quote supports ellipses, blank, something you would put in there, because, blank. So let's see these in action. How does this actually look? So I have an example text here, and I have an example race response here. So the race response is incomplete. You'll notice that we have a restate and an answer, right? We have that one sentence that contains both of those things. Then we have a citation, we have evidence, but then there's nothing after it. There's nothing to explain how that evidence proves their answer is right. So we're going to help them out with that. Okay, so the text says, my dad and his friends are having a fantasy football draft. They each draft players and form their own teams. They follow their team's players throughout the season and get points for different victories. At the end of the year, the person with the most points wins the prize. They have fun drafting players on their teams. So the question is, how do they determine the winner? So the writer here answered that. They said the players determine their winner based on points. According to the author, so this here they're going to put in their evidence for how they know it's based on points. According to the author, at the end, whoever has the most points wins the game. Wins the prize. So we need to add in an explained sentence at the end. So I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to grab one of these. Let's just say this proves, pretty easy. And we're going to write that in there. This proves that. So now I'm going to connect my evidence to my answer. This proves that whoever has, oh goodness, not sure what happened there. Sorry about that, I'm not sure what happened. This proves that whoever has, and I'm going to say it just in a different way. I'm going to say the lead score does what? So this was the evidence. Now I need to show how it proves the answer. So what was the answer? The answer was that they'd be a winner, right? So this proves that whoever has the lead score wins. Pretty simple. Simple little sentence, but it really rounds out your entire statement and it proves you know what you're talking about. Okay, let's do that again. Let's do another example. Okay, so we have a question. We again have a restate and an answer, and then I have evidence. I don't have an explained sentence. So let's read through the text. Baseball has many rules to follow. If the batter hits a ball, runners on base may take the chance it won't be caught and start running. If the fielder catches the ball in the air, the hitter is out, and the other runners on base may run if they first tag their base. Runners may try to steal a base after the ball leaves the pitcher's hand. After 3 outs, the team in the field comes into bat. These rules are enforced by the umpires. So it says, when may a runner steal a base? So again, this writer has already answered the question. They said a runner may steal a base when the ball is in play. And then they give their citation. In the text, it states, and then they did a paraphrase. So they're not quoting directly from the text, they're putting it in their own words. It states that runners can try to steal, but only if the ball has been thrown by the pitcher. Okay, so I'm going to use a sentence starter from up here. I used this proofs before, so I'm going to say, let's say this means, pretty simple. Okay, so this means that. So now I want to connect, again, my evidence back up to my answer. This means that, so let's try to put this again in kind of our own words. Runners can try to steal, but only if the ball, let's say, as long as the ball is in the air and in play. And then I'm going to connect it to my answer. So that would be when a runner can steal a base. This means that as long as the ball is in air and in play, the runner is free to steal. Okay. And I think I answered both of these with an exclamation point. I did. You don't have to do that. I just like to write like that. So, okay. Hopefully that's pretty clear what you need to do. Again, these are pretty simple sentences, but this is the sentence that people leave off absolutely the most. They usually get to the end of their evidence and they're like, cool, done, I did it. But you need to explain yourself. You need to go a little bit further. You kind of have to turn into a lawyer and argue a little bit farther and prove yourself correct. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, you can go ahead and jump on your Edulastic assignment that is attached to this assignment in Google Classroom. Thanks.